Welcome into T4G Sports. In today's video, we're going to do a reaction to the fans' reaction over Week 2 football. We're going to first cover Michigan and Texas because, as you guys all know, this was a big-time matchup, and it was a big-time disappointment. Before we jump into this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, click the notification bell, and don't just play the game, own the game. Let's light it up. So the game was 31-12, and we're going to cover the game first before we jump into the fan reaction here. This was a bad game for Michigan. No identity. I think Sark gets the game ball because Sark was generous with Michigan. They scored 7 points in the first quarter, 17 in the second quarter. Michigan only had 3, and it was the ugliest 3 points I have seen. Very ugly. And the game was out of hand in the first half. You knew Michigan was toast by the first half. Unless, they moved earth in the second half, it was just not going to happen for them. They were outmatched in every category: time of possession, turnovers, yards, you name it. They got outclassed. They had no identity. And Sark, I think, looked at it with Sharon Moore being a first-time head coach and knowing his program was left for nothing. I mean, honestly, if you look at Jim Harbaugh and you look at Nick Saban, you compare those two. Nick Saban retires from Alabama, stays around his team, still talks to the recruits, does everything he can to help Kalen DeBoer keep his legacy alive at Alabama. You look at Harbaugh just left him to rot. He talked about how he thinks he could beat Ohio State in NIL. Well, where's the result of that? They didn't hit the transfer portal. If you're that great of a coach, Jim Harbaugh should have known he was leaving Sharon Moore with a carcass. And he did nothing to prevent that, in my opinion. And I think Sark did a great job as a head coach in seeing this and saying, hey, let's not run up the score. Because if I'm being honest with you, Michigan fans, they could have dropped 50 on you, if not even more, in my opinion. And he took his foot off the throttle. So I think Jim Harbaugh left Michigan to rot. That's one. Did nothing in the transfer portal. And I think right now they have no identity. Zero identity. Passing-wise, they're atrocious. They're starting 2 quarterbacks. One, Alex Orji, cannot throw the ball effectively. I don't care what anyone says. He's a great athlete, but man, oh man, I don't trust him to throw that ball. Davis Warren is a little bit better at throwing the ball, but still, he makes mistakes. He stares receivers down. He just does not look efficient. Running-wise, you had 82 yards total, 3.7 yards per average, no rushing TDs. This is unheard of. The offensive line just looks honestly soft. They need to change things quickly because they're on the flop board right now. There's the fix and flop. They're on the flop. I don't know if they're going to fix it. I hope they can get off the flop, but I'm not seeing it so far. And here's the thing. Receiving-wise, Loveland's their only receiver, and I thought they'd use him as a decoy and kind of showcase their other talent at the receiver position. You have Morgan, but there's just not enough there. Really, Michigan looked like they had no idea what they were doing. They had no answer for anything Michigan or Texas was giving them. And so you look at defensively, when no sacks last year against Alabama, they had 7 sacks in the entire game against that Alabama offensive line. And you have no sacks this year against Texas, and it just didn't look the same. And I think moving forward, I think there's a couple things that can happen here. For one, Michigan needs to change things, right? I definitely agree with that. But I don't think that there's going to be teams out there in the Big Ten who, if they get the opportunity to run up the score, I don't think that they're going to be so kind as Texas and Sark was. I don't think they're going to be so kind. Everyone keeps talking about how, well, nothing's going to come of the cheating scandal. Nothing. They're not going to lose bowl games. They're not going to lose this. You had Kentucky get roasted by the NCAA. You had Ohio State lose an entire undefeated season because of the tattoo gate. You had guys that were penalized for far less than what Michigan's accused of doing. And I don't think that if you're going to do anything against them, I think these teams are looking at it and saying, fine, we're going to do on-field justice. And I think that they're going to run up the score if they have the opportunity to do so. That's my opinion. Also, I think you should be careful moving forward if you are those teams like Oregon, Ohio State, and you are undefeated when you play Michigan, because I think they're going to, if you have a wounded animal out there that has nothing left to lose, you need to be afraid of that team. So I think it's a weird dynamic what's happening this year. But let's jump over and get the fans' reaction. We're going to go over the video for the football postgame press conference for Sharon Moore versus Texas. We'll have this somewhere where you can watch this as well. We got old BK 4281. Honestly, if Moore is taking solace that the defense only gave up 1 TD in the second half. He should watch the film and realize Sark took his foot off the gas big time. If they had let Ewers keep slinging it, they could have put up 50 or more. Agree. Michigan is back to Brady Hoke level. Ward Manuel's responsible for this, as well as the recently ended Juwan Howard fiasco in basketball. Not good. I will say this, though. I agree with everything you're saying. However, I think that the blame really needs to be put on Jim Harbaugh. How did you not know you were leaving him with a carcass of a football team? How did you not know that? And I think that that's where you're seeing this kind of like I don't know why Michigan fans aren't seeing the writing on the wall. Harbaugh didn't care. Sherrone Moore is not an effective enough coach where he should have seen this and went to Harbaugh and been like, dude, we got to crush the transfer portal. We got to do this, that, and the third. What happened at the NIL money? You were talking that we could beat Ohio State. You have the biggest alumni base in like all of the country. You have like the first or second biggest fan base. Why the hell is Michigan not doing better in recruiting? That's one. Why have they had such long stretches with poor recruiting? And then when the NIL comes out, why are they not doing just as much damage as Ohio State? I don't understand it. I don't get it. And I think that there needs to be some blame put on Jim Harbaugh, and I just don't see why Michigan fans aren't seeing that. You got another guy, absolute pitiful performance today, offensively and defensively. Texas had their way with us. I definitely think it's going to be a long, painful season. You got another guy, born on third base. Ooh. You got B-Way 10. Dude acts like they're close on offense. Oh, well, I don't think it's about the details when your QB can't hit an open guy. True. You got Lights Chunk here. Number one, our defense is solid, but playing a ton of minutes and getting worn out. Agree. Number two, we're trapped at quarterback between walk-on Warren and three-star Orgy. Agree. Again, that's coaching on Harbaugh and Sherrone. 3, no real weapons at wide receiver. Agree. And that's on Harbaugh and Sherrone Moore. David Graham says, as a Michigan fan, I'm truly grateful for the last 3 seasons. This Texas team is hands down the best team in college football right now. That's hilarious. Of course, when they beat you like they did, they're the best team. Now, let me ask you a question, though. And this is real. I'm not trying to poke fun or anything. But if Ohio State beats you to that level, are you going to say the same thing? I'm thinking you won't. I'm just saying. I'm going to point that out now. If they do, are you going to say? I'm not saying they will. They could lose. Ohio State could lose. This is a rivalry game at the end of the day. But if they do, what are you going to say to that? You have Doc Real. This team is atrocious, and it showed that they were not ready for the season. Again, that's on the coaches now and before. Not sure what he did with this team for 9 months, but coaching was awful. Back to being mediocre. You got another guy, Wolverine 2948. Ditch the Orgy BS. If he's not trusted to throw the ball, tell him to transfer. 2 drive-ending decisions with him in the game. That's on coaching. What the hell are the replies to this? Why would you sideline your best athletes? For one, he only said one guy. You're saying multiple, and you already called him an athlete, not a quarterback. That's why. Okay, that's if you call a quarterback an athlete and only an athlete, that's kind of disrespectful to some of these guys. Okay, so, and then he finished it off. I swear Michigan got the dumbest fans. You don't know ball at all. Oof. Ooh. Yeah. And then the guy responds to, they are using Orgy as a run-only quarterback, basically a wildcat with zero threat to throw. That's so true. They don't even use a few run plays to set up the play action. It's a waste. You can use Mullins, 230-pound running back, to run those plays if you must go wildcat. We're wasting a QB spot on a team for a guy they don't trust. And it's so true. This guy knows for sure what he's looking at here. That's not a knock on Orgy's athletic ability. I agree with that comment. Great work. You got another guy here. Sherrone Moore is Juwan Howard in Michigan football in real time. Woo! We got another guy here. Entire staff garbage. What do we got? Oh, we got Doc. He's coming back. Agree. Another guy here. Figure it the fuck out, Sherrone. This is a good one here. Run the ball. Mullins is RB1. Edwards is a slot receiver. And stop throwing to Loveland all the time. Receivers are open deep. I agree with that. I thought they'd use him as a decoy to some degree. But no, they literally were like, he's our only guy. Throw him the ball. Wow, this guy was rough. I left in the third quarter. This team blows, man. Maybe a 4-win team. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, here you go. I guess it's harder to win when you don't know your opponent's play in advance. Oh, this is a 5-loss team this year. A dumpster fire. Oh, another guy calling for a fire. This is Fire Manuel Ward. Yikes. Natty Time 517 says Coach Moore is way in over his head and struggling to tread water. And of course, you got another guy. Ha 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 ha. Hard to win when you can't cheat, huh? Oof. Oofka. You got Proski the people or something. Why Team Cap only touched the ball 9 times? Y'all didn't even try to run the ball. Another guy's calling. Fire Kirk Campbell, Ron Bellamy, Coach Moore. You starting a walk-on quarterback and the defense coordinator garbage. Oh, God, another one here. German drummer says, why aren't you crying, Sharon? God. Oh, another one here. Where's Connor Stallions when you need him? Oh, Lord have mercy. James Howard Film says, start Alex Orji. He will give the offense a whole other dynamic of, yeah, just Wildcat. You'll say that for 2 weeks, and then you'll be like, get him the hell out of the game. Dear Lord. So that was brutal. And we're going to put them on the flop list only because I saw so many negatives from this game, and I don't see any answers. They don't trust either one of their quarterbacks. They don't trust one of their quarterback to throw more than 2 times. And even then, he was only 50% because he threw it in the dirt in the first week. The second week, they didn't even try to throw with him. They just bring him out and do some kind of like Wildcat thing, and it's obvious they're going to run the ball. They don't trust their offensive line to block for the running backs. They got less than 100 yards rushing. Receivers-wise, they trust one receiver, and that's it. And they put way too much pressure on him, and the guy ends up fumbling. He's a great tight end as well, one of the best in college football, no doubt. He's going to be a great NFL tight end, in my opinion. Defensively, they're all over the place. It just they just didn't have the pressure. They just didn't look coached up enough. They don't look like they have the talent right at this moment in time. So I got to put them on the flop list. I hope they can come back because Michigan should be better than this. Period. And if the NCAA is not going to punish you, if that's really true and they're not going to punish you, then what the hell are we looking at here? I don't know what's going on here. This is bad. Jim Harbaugh there's a lot to blame on Jim Harbaugh, and you Michigan fans are all pointing it at Sharon Moore and Ward, and yes, both of them are to blame as well. But how is Jim Harbaugh just free from all this? I don't get that. He was the guy who was supposed to leave you in good hands, and Nick Saban did. Jim Harbaugh did not. So I think there's the difference between a legendary coach and a coach that can be great at times. So I don't know. That's our thoughts on this, and good luck to Michigan fans this year. Hopefully you guys can turn it around, and I still think teams shouldn't take you lightly. All right, so let's look over the post-game interview for Steve Sark and check out some of the comments on this. Texas looks like a national champion. Oh, I got to see this. Michigan struggled with Fresno State. Texas just played bad competition. Every team Texas plays is bad competition. Then you got pump the brakes 1 week at a time. Another guy says, all gas, no brakes. Lighten up, Francis. Thanks, Michigan fans. Unlike Alabama, you showed a lot of class. That's hilarious. Dear Lord, taking shots at Bama. This dude's back again. He's everywhere. Old BK 4281. What's up, man? Not a quality opponent, Sark, but thanks for taking your foot off the gas in the second half. Michigan is back to square one. Lucky to be a 500 team when all said and done. Good luck to Texas and the CFP. And, of course, you got a Buckeyes fan in here. As a Buckeyes fan, I love it. Hook 'em. Love how Buckeye fans are more worried about how Michigan does. Yeah, they're in here to talk crap. That's what your rival's going to do. Walked into the big house and owned it. Congrats, Texas, Michigan alumnus. Be humble. Anything can happen, especially in October. That's true. That's true. This one's just out of left field for no reason. Watch Sarkisian play at BYU back in the day. He's looking older, of course. It's just like a subtle slap. You just like barely slapped him across the cheek for no reason. The guy's like, what? Did you just slap me? The hell was that? Why'd you do that? I just barely slapped you. Oh, I'm guessing another Buckeyes fan here. This is what you get, Michigan, for cheating. Cheaters never win. Thumbs down to you, Michigan. Oh, yeah. Still raining in Columbus. Raining insults about Michigan. Yeah, still raining wins. Go Buckeyes. I don't care who you are. That's funny. Well, all in all, this was pretty hilarious. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. We got more to come. It is hilarious seeing your guys' comments. More to come.